Israel and the Jewish people are preparing for a very hard and emotional Memorial Day and Independence Day this year. While much of the focus is going to be on the Israelis killed either in the massacre on Simchat Torah, October 7th, 2023, or on those IDF soldiers killed in the war launched since that day, we cannot lose perspective of the process we are all experiencing. It's a process that I speak about a lot. Before I tell you what the process is, let me use President Joe Biden's recent statements and actions from last week to show you all. So last week on International Holocaust Memorial Day, President Joe Biden said this.
That hatred was brought to life on October 7th in 2023. On the sacred Jewish holiday, the terrorist group Hamas unleashed the deadliest day of the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Driven by ancient desire to wipe out the Jewish people off the face of the earth, over 1,200 innocent people, babies, parents, grandparents, slaughtered in their kibbutz, massacred at a music festival, brutally raped, mutilated, and sexually assaulted. Thousands more carrying wounds, bullets and shrapnel from the memory of that terrible day they endured. Hundreds taken hostage, including survivors of the Shoah. Now, here we are, not 75 years later, but just 7.5 months later, and people are already forgetting. They're already forgetting that Hamas unleashed this terror. It was Hamas that brutalized Israelis. It was Hamas who took and continues to hold hostages. I have not forgotten, nor have you, and we will not forget.
He was quite clear, and he received applause from the audience. That included Jews and Holocaust survivors, that Biden has not forgotten about the horrific massacre that Hamas did to us. Yet, the next day, President Biden and his administration decided to withhold weapons from Israel that our IDF need to fight the war we're in against the whole Iranian terror octopus around us, including in Gaza. And Biden said this in a CNN interview.
I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities, to deal with that problem. We're going to continue to make sure Israel is secure in terms of Iron Dome and their ability to respond to attacks like came out of the Middle East recently. But it's just wrong. We're not going to supply the weapons and the artillery shells used that have been used.
Artillery shells as well.
Yeah, artillery shells.
So it sounds to me like Biden has forgotten. Why else would he actively help Hamas by stopping Israel from being able to destroy Hamas? And the crazy thing is that Biden 2024 is going against Biden 2019. Just listen to what Biden says in this PBS interview from back then.
News this week to the extent that some of the Democrats are saying that if, because of Israel's settlements policy, that they would look at cutting off military aid to Israel as a result of that.
That'd be a tragic mistake. But the idea that we would cut off military aid to an ally, our only true ally in the entire region, is absolutely preposterous. It's just beyond my comprehension anyone would do that.
And if all that Biden flip-flopping isn't enough in learning how we can't trust him, we then have this headline. Day before Biden administration announced it would withhold weapons from Israel, it issued sanctions waiver to allow arms sales to Qatar and Lebanon. Folks, Qatar is the Muslim Brotherhood and a funder of Hamas. Lebanon is basically an Iranian proxy with no difference between the Iranian Hezbollah army today and the Lebanese army. So Biden is withholding weapons from Israel and not allowing us to use them against Hamas in Gaza, but his administration will go against U.S. law, override a waiver, and sell weapons to enemies of Israel and the United States? since the Sunni Muslim Brotherhood of Qatar and the Shiite Islamic regime of Iran both want to destroy America and Israel. So bottom line, Jews today are getting a front seat show of how God is in charge, not President Biden or the USA. If anything, I want to say thank you to President Biden and his administration for proving to the Jewish people that we can never, ever be reliant again on America like we are today. Even if Trump wins in the upcoming election, one day the Democrats will come back, more heavily influenced by the Marxist and Islamist forces growing stronger by the day within the Democrat Party. And they will be much more dangerous for Israel and the Jewish people, and we today have to start preparing for that future. From Biden's inconsistent flip-flopping, actively stopping us from doing what we have to do to defeat our enemies, and actively helping our enemies, more Jews today, especially in Israel, but also around the world, are realizing that we can only trust ourselves and turn to Hashem, God above, who is in charge, not any human being, not even the most powerful leader in the world who says he's our ally. So thank you, President Biden, for helping wake up the Jewish people in the Jewish state of Israel to now begin to work hard and fast on becoming much more independent, switching from relying on a foreign power to relying more on ourselves and our one and only true guardian, God above. So even with the pain of the massacre, the war, the captives still in Gaza, and the Jewish refugees from Israel's north and south, we cannot ignore being thankful for living in a generation where we, the Jewish people, are once again sovereign in our ancestral homeland with our own IDF army to defend ourselves. And the growing Jew hatred around the world today is the biggest proof of how the alternative of not having the state of Israel today is a defenseless Jewish people all over the world, like we were for over 2,000 years in exile. So thank God we are no longer in that situation. And for that, we have to be thankful and, yes, even celebrate Israel Independence Day as a religious holiday, which it is, thanking God above and showing our appreciation, while also holding on to the pain that we are in the process and still experiencing. Am Yisrael Chai, folks. Am Yisrael Chai. That's what you get from me, the inspiring, politically incorrect truth, belief-based about Israel, the Jewish people, and the freedom-loving world. If you are not yet a subscriber to the Pulse of Israel, just go to pulseofisrael.com and click to subscribe. And if you like these videos and want to help us get them seen by many more people, just click on the donate button on pulseofisrael.com every once in a while. Shalom, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.